So we're making focaccia today. It's going to take a while to do this because it needs to prove over time. We're going to take it a stage at a time, and at the end we're going to decorate it with herbs and vegetables to make it look pretty. We're going to start by making the dough. Okay, so focaccia is a type of Italian yeast bread baked in a flat sheet pan. It's flavoured with olive oil and then topped with herbs and other vegetables that we're going to do later. So I'm going to start with 250 grams of strong bread flour. Okay. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to add a teaspoon of yeast. Now, if you've got the sachet yeast, the fast-acting yeast, then you could use that. If not, then if you've got this yeast, it's absolutely fine. So, teaspoon of yeast. I'm going to place this on one side of the bowl. So you can see I've put that there. And I'm now going to have half a teaspoon of salt. Now it's important not to put the salt on top of the yeast because the salt can actually affect the yeast as it ferments. So I'm now going to put the salt, so half a teaspoon of salt, I'm going to put that on the other side of the bowl. So I've got flour, yeast and salt. And now I can mix it together. Okay. So together, put that away. I'm going to put a well in the middle of here. What I'm now going to do is I'm now going to add about 2.5 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Okay, so the good thing about focaccia is you need to use sort of good quality olive oil. Okay, so 1, 2, I'm going to put in 3 tablespoons of olive oil. And I'm going to add some lukewarm water. Now obviously having warm water is going to activate the yeast. It's going to start it to sort of develop and grow. Remember, it's a living organism. So just mix that up. And I'm going to add the warm water a bit at a time. So I have got 200 millilitres in here and I'm not going to need it all. So I'm going to add a bit at a time until it comes together to make a sticky dough. All right, don't panic if it is sticky, okay? So add a little bit first, bring it together. A bit more. Start to come together now into the dough. Still a little bit dry in places. So you see I've almost used my 200 mils. That's better. Yep, happy with that. So I almost used 50 mils. So I've used 150 mils of water. Okay, so I'm going to turn this out onto my work surface. And what I'm now going to do is we're going to need some flour. I'm going to knead this for a good 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, what we want at the moment, you can see it tears quite easily. What we eventually want is it to be nice and stretchy so the gluten is beginning to form. So if it gets a bit too sticky, a bit more flour. So I'm going to knead it. So you're kneading with the base of your hand. See, it's starting to get a little bit more stretchy. If I feel it starting to stick to my hands, I'm just going to add a little bit more flour to it. So I'm pulling it and stretching it. So you can see it's getting there. Not quite. Getting there. Right, so I've been kneading it for a while now, and you can see it's less sticky and it's more stretchy and it's really nice and smooth. So what I'm now going to do, I'm now going to place it back into the bowl, and you need to leave it for an hour to prove. Now to prove means it's going to double in size. So I'm going to cover it, you can either cover it with a tea towel or with cling film. I've got cling film here. And then I'm going to leave it somewhere warm for about an hour, and you should see after that time it doubled in size. So the gluten is inactivated, all right? So seal it down, and then leave it to prove for an hour. So as you can see, I've taken it, left it for an hour, let it prove, and it's doubled in size. So what I'm now going to do is I'm now going to oil the baking sheet. Okay, I'll remove this from here. I'm now going to stretch it out. I'm not going to use a rolling pin. Just going to use my hands to stretch it out to fit the baking tray. Don't worry about holes for now. Doesn't matter if it looks rough, the edges, doesn't matter. Okay. Okay, so that's done. What I'm now going to do is I'm now going to leave it again to prove again for another sort of half an hour. I'm going to cover it again. You can either cover it with a tea towel or with cling film. I'll do a tea towel. I've got a clean one here. So cover it for a tea towel, let it prove again for another sort of 35 minutes, or 30-35 minutes. So I'm just going to cut some cherry tomatoes in half, because these could be part of a flower, the centre of a flower. I'm going to chop some peppers different ways. So I'm going to slice them this way, first of all. Because they create quite a nice shape. I'm also going to cut some lengthways, as you cut some julienne. Got different colours there. Onion. Might do let's take up some onion rings, and I might just cut. So that's quite a nice, that could be the centre of a flower. These could be stalks for a flower. These obviously can be the leaves of a flower. Olives I can cut in half, because they could be the centre of some flowers as well. Spring onion, I just peel include that as like a stem as well. Let me cut that up there. asparagus, maybe cut that in half. And asparagus, I'm just going to break it off. And now I'm going to be creative with it. Rosemary is always lovely to use. Actually stick it into the bread dough. I have a couple sticking out here. It's just great to make something pretty looking that adds so much flavour to a basic bread. Don't want to do too much because it will just look a bit silly, but I'm pretty happy with that. Got another tomato here. Okay, so just gonna carefully go over. Now, if possible, try and push it into the dough. I'm just gonna coat it with a little bit of oil. Okay, and then I'm gonna put it in the oven for about 20 minutes. Okay, so there's my focaccia bread.